The start stream button has been clicked, Lewis. The start stream button has been clicked.
Ooh, spike alert.
What's that?
We just
I see some bits coming in.
actually it's not a spike. Story's doing well though.
And we're live. Thank goodness that button worked. For some reason, my buttons are gotten all weird, but I think we're live, Lewis. Welcome back. Welcome back, Luigi.
Oh, it's great to be back in America where the prices are high and the food's expensive and
Prices are high.
traffic's terrible.
Are they not high in Italy?
Dude, you would not believe how affordable things are in Italy.
That's surprising to hear because, I mean, they use the euro, and the euro has always been worth so much more than the dollar, right?
But Suzanne
Not
went to
these
the
days, maybe.
she went to the produce store back here, and she came back. She was like distraught. She's like, they want like $8 for 3 heads of lettuce. Romaine.
You mean in the U.S.?
Yeah.
In San Francisco, especially, yeah.
Yeah, but and it's gone up noticeably in the past.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how long has it been? 14 months.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, okay. Well, and we're like, we just walked into these markets in Italy, right? And they have all these amazing looking vegetables. And by the way, it's like 10 types of lettuce, right? Not just romaine or iceberg.
Oh.
And maybe if you're lucky, a radicchio. There's like beautiful lettuce that you've never seen in your life.
Really? Huh?
Yeah, and it's like why? I wonder why they don't have that kind of stuff. And I think it all gets down to just like ease of transport and picking like the whole thing of like there's 5 kinds of apples available, right? But the really good one, they choose the ones that travel well, not the ones that taste
Yeah,
good.
right. The ones that have the longest shelf life.
Yeah.
Like I once heard that they don't breed tomatoes for taste anymore. Right? So
Yeah, they
every
just don't want
tomato just
everyone
tastes the
squishy.
same. Yeah.
Yeah.
They just
It
want it to
looks
be
good.
hard. They want it to be hard as a rock so that it can't get bruised. And it has to have like a 7-month shelf life.
Yeah.
It's like you want a tomato, here you go. It's like a baseball.
Sad.
It's like dry inside, it practically deflates when you cut it. Not like those beautiful tomatoes in Italy. The other thing that's nice in Italy is the wine, of course. And it's so cheap, right? It's like a bottle of wine is like $2, $3 for a nice bottle of wine.
You can get definitely some fresh wine for that price.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
but we had that truffle fair we were at, man. We were tasting all these wines, $7, $8 a bottle.
Wow.
Just great, just really good. I mean, it wasn't the best wine I've ever had, but it was way better than a $7 bottle of wine at the Safeway.
Now tell me, you said you were going to apply for a job as a truffle pig. Did you get it? Or were you not fast enough? Did you get beaten out by a real hog?
No comment. I'm still working on my skills.
Well, you know what they say. Keep practicing. Fake it till you make it, Lewis. You got to go out into the forest and practice every weekend. Shout out to Mark LaPointe. Shout out to Siep. Shout out to Dipsy Doo. What's the plan for next week's show? I think we're probably going live on Wednesday next week. What do you think about that, Lewis?
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, because clearly Thursday is Thanksgiving, and we'll both be out of the office, which has never stopped us before, but especially it almost stopped us last week, but it came real close. We got Lewis on the live feed. Oh man, I wanted to talk about Black Friday deals because there's so much great Black Friday stuff happening, but I don't know if we should do it right now. But I got an iPad. I got a Gen 9 iPad, which Apple still sells for $249, Lewis.
Wow,
$249.
that's pretty great.
It's kind of a special deal though because you have to know someone who has access to the military store. like the exchange, the military exchange, like that's where they're selling it. So you got either be in the military or be a veteran or know someone that or be related to someone who is or know someone who is, and they're selling iPads, 9th gen iPads for $249. I mean, they were selling the new iPad or the newest iPad Air for $399. It's a $599 iPad. So there's some great deals to be had out there. I already bought some hard drives, of course. I won't go into everything. This is the time of year where I've been holding my powder. I got some dry powder. I'm ready to go. Boom. You can quote me on that.
Have you seen any AirTag deals? Because we discovered on this trip that AirTags really are fantastic.
I haven't seen any AirTag deals. Although, Apple says their Black Friday deal is going to be it's going live on November 25th, I think. I'm sure it's going to be a big one.
Gift card.
You might get a $5 gift card with purchase of a $2,000 Mac Pro.
The details on that thing just went live today. I don't know if you saw them, but it's like $250 gift card.
Yeah. For a Mac Pro?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay. I didn't see the deals. They actually didn't look too bad, but yeah, gift cards on everything, of course. But there's a lot of discounts happening on Apple stuff. Like the third-party buyers, the people who are buying it, from Apple and reselling it, there are a lot of great deals. Like I think the lowest price ever on the new MacBook Air just happened at Costco. I think they were selling it for like $800. I've been seeing deals like crazy all over the place. So good luck to you all on finding deals over Black Friday and Thanksgiving. There's a lot of TV deals happening. Baby. I'm getting too excited.
I'm looking for a 4-pack of AirTags for less than $80. That's what I
good
want.
luck. Good luck with that. I mean, have they ever dropped to that low of a level, like $80?
I think I got them for $83 around this time last year.
Okay, I actually might buy some for that price.
They're worth it.
Apple's Find My network is one of the best things that they've ever created. It's up there with MagSafe, and I'm going to talk more about that in here in a little bit because I got some updates here to share with you all. We got a lot of stuff to talk about this week. Lewis,
what in the world? I see right now 4-pack for $49.95.
No way.
Come on, this has got to be a scam. You put in your credit card, it's immediately canceled, right?
So is that real? If that's real, you got to send it to me.
I don't know if I don't. It's sort of like from some website I've never heard of.
Oh, okay. Well,
you
gotta be careful with your credit cards. So I was at the bank the other day, depositing some cash, right? And it's one of those ATM rooms where you have to scan your card, and then it opens the door and it lets you in. So I go in, and I do my business, right? And I'm coming out, and there's a guy with a screwdriver. Like it's in the middle of the night. There's a guy with a screwdriver, like fiddling with the credit card reader on the door. And this guy is probably, I don't know, I'm going to guess he's in his late 60s. And I walk out and I don't think anything of it. And then I stop and I turn around, I'm like, what are you doing? And he goes, oh, I'm just repairing this credit card reader because the screws are loose. And I'm like, what? I'm like, do you work for the bank? And he goes, no, I'm just a banker.
I'm just a handyman.
Yeah. And I'm like, dude, that's a little weird that you're touching that and you don't work here. I'm like, that could be a credit card skimmer. And he's like, oh, what? I'm like, a credit card skimmer. And you might have put it there. Like, I don't know. But it's on the bank door, so you got to scan your card and it just steals your number, right? And he started acting kind of funny when I said that. So I'm like, is this guy installing a skimmer? Is Wayne Brady going to have to choke this guy? And so I got my phone out subtly, and he kind of like scurried off to his car, and I zoomed in and I took a bunch of pictures of his license plate. And as God is my witness, if my credit card number gets stolen, I'm reporting that guy to the FBI and the KGB. I don't know if they can help us, but he needs to be interrogated.
I don't know how much help the Kremlin's going to be.
I don't know.
Probably none.
Worth a try. I hear their tactics are a little bit more direct than at the FBI.
Jeez.
If that guy stole my credit card number, that's who I'm going to. But I don't know if this guy's just trying to be a good citizen because he saw the screws were loose, which I think is really weird. Like, why would you take it upon yourself to screw the credit card reader back into the door, the external door, right?
Also, who's carrying a screwdriver?
I don't know. I mean, that part's not that weird. I know people carry around like knives or, but yeah, why would you take it upon yourself to screw this thing back in? It's like, it's not, this is the bank's job, not yours. You don't work here. Isn't that kind of weird?
That's bizarre.
Sepp says, sounds shady. Yeah, we'll see.
Oh, boy,
Dan DeWitt's here. He says, yo.
Oh, my God. It's almost 1 o'clock.
Okay.
What's going on here? Hey, what?
Can we get the moderator here and get Dan DeWitt booted out? Yeah.
What's the show number?
Well, as you know, as you well know, because you asked, it's
569, dudes.
Thanks for that layup.
Yeah. Nothing but net. Actually, nothing but yet.
All right, Lewis, the tweet is live. Let's
Is it?
Let's queue up Mrs. You Know Who, and we'll get this show rolling because we look at this. How long have we been recording already? Like an hour almost. Yes, almost an hour, Lewis. And we haven't even started the show. We got to hurry through this show. I got to be walking out the door at 2 p.m. Let's go ahead and cue up Mrs. You Know Who, and we'll get this thing rolling. Oh, Mrs. D. Oh, Mrs. D, you're awfully chipper. Oh, yes, I heard your story about the credit cards. Oh, yes, that guy was just screwing that thing in. Oh, I did some screwing of myself with Mr. LK. Oh. I just totally set her up for that. How could I not see that coming? So gross. All right, Mrs. D, if you don't mind, we don't want to hear about your escapades with LK. We want to get the show rolling. So if you don't mind, I'll get the music going, warm up that larynx, and we'll get the show going in 3, 2, 1. Hello, and welcome to the Coltcast, the best 30-plus minute op conversation you're going to hear all week long. I'm your host, Airfon Elijah. Join me today. Now that he's back, many headlocks and eye gouges were deployed to the Coltmac writing staff so that they know that vacation's over and the slackers will be properly disciplined. He's a managing editor of Coltmac. Lewis Wallace is here.
Oh, God, it's great to be back. Sort of. Got off the plane. It's like, man, God, it's cold here.
Yeah, it is cold. Probably not nearly as cold there as it is here. What's it over there, like 45s, 50?
It was in the 40s or something. It warmed right up, but it was just at that night it was kind of cold. It's colder than in, Italy.
Yeah, it's cold here too in Seattle, Lewis. It was a balmy 35, 37 degrees this morning when I came outside.
Frosty.
It's been frosty, man. It's only going to get worse. And of course, now like that daylight savings time is over. It's getting dark at 4:21 in the afternoon. It's pitch black outside. God, this is the time of year I really don't like. It's time to move to Arizona where they don't mess with daylight savings time. I mean, the whole thing is pointless. It just ruins everyone's week. There's no point anymore. It's a relic of the past. Wasn't it created by like Benjamin Franklin or something? He's been dead for 200 years. Let's move on. You know what I mean?
Keep track of which weird story about its creation is accurate. There's so many weird ones.
Oh, really? I didn't realize. I thought that was an established fact that it was Benjamin Franklin. But look,
I can't remember.
I don't know either. I could just be making that up. I mean, I have been known to make things up from time to time.
Jeez.
Okay, everyone, we got a great show for you this week. I got some stories to tell you guys. So let's see here. What's on the docket? We got to talk about Apple, their free Emergency SOS feature. It's live. We'll talk about it. Lewis has used it. Apple is building their own version of the metaverse. I don't know if this is true, but it seems like it is. And I don't know who wants to do the metaverse, but apparently Apple thinks you might want to. I have a story to tell you all about 4K video on the iPhone. I don't know if any of you have noticed this, but I had an epiphany in the last week. 4K video is an absolute scam. It is an absolute money grab by Apple to get you to pay for iCloud photo storage. And that's the only thing it's good for. I'm going to break the whole thing open. You guys legitimately are not going to believe the details of this story. That's not hyperbole. I think that's a fact. Also, if you were listening in a previous show and you heard me talk about my missing AirPods Max, the story has taken a twist. I've got an update for all of you. We'll talk about that later in the show. And then if you're excited about getting your hands on Steve Jobs' stinky old Birkenstocks, well, my friends, you have your chance. I hope you got the money, though, because they ain't going cheap. Let's see here. Before we dive in, let me give a thank you to Squarespace for supporting this episode. Squarespace.com/Coltcast. They have everything that you need to sell anything. How do I know? Because I use Squarespace for the coltcloth.co website, coltcloth.co. And I'm so happy with my site. It's just set it and forget it. Once you get your website dialed in, which takes like no time at all, you can have a website up and running in minutes, or you can go in and customize everything like I did and make it look uniquely yours. Then your site is basically just going to run itself. There's just nothing that you need to do. I never need to touch my site. Like I go into my settings maybe once every 3 or 4 weeks, maybe every 6 to 8 weeks, depending on the season. And the orders just keep rolling in, and it's all thanks to Squarespace. They make it so easy to sell products or services of all kinds. Or if you don't want to sell anything, you can just have a portfolio up. They make it really easy to feature your photos or create like a one-page impactful website that you can use to displaying your skills or yourself to potential employers. You can have people give people a way to book your time. You can have a members only aspect of your website that people can pay to participate in. They've just got it all at squarespace.com/cultcast. Give it a try. Build a website, see how you like it, and at the end of your trial, if you like what you have, you can save 10% off your first purchase with code CULTCAST at checkout, and you can get an additional discount if you buy a year of service, like I do. Squarespace.com/cultcast. Use offer code CULTCAST, by the way, at checkout. Squarespace.com/cultcast. Lewis, where'd you go? He disappeared. That's a first in CultCast history. That's never happened before. We just decided to go get a drink of water?
You know, when the neighbors call and you think maybe the house is on fire, you go ahead and take the call.
Is it their house or your house?
You don't know.
Because if it's
how
their
do you
house,
know when the neighbor's calling and it's breaking through on your phone? you gotta stop and take the call because it's your neighbor.
I don't know. So there's some neighbors I have where if they called me, I would not answer.
I mean, I have do not disturb on, but for some reason that came through, which if it comes through do not disturb, I take it as a sign from God. Answer the call.
All right, Lewis, speaking of answering the call, I'm sending it your way to talk about Apple's free Emergency SOS service, which you said you tried, yes?
Well, I tried the demo.
Okay.
Because I haven't actually been out of range of cellular, or B, been in an emergency.
Yeah.
Thank heavens.
Sounds like you were almost in one.
Well, I wasn't sure.
And with San Francisco's level of cell service, you might actually have to use the satellite signal to get anyone to come help you.
No kidding. Yeah. Okay. So they talked about it at WWDC, I think, right?
Yeah.
Or they talked about it at the iPhone launch event. I don't think they mentioned it at WWDC. Anyway, Emergency SOS via satellite on all iPhone 14 models, now available in the United States and I believe in Canada. Coming soon to France, Germany, Ireland, and the UK. Anyway, what this does is it lets you, when you're off the grid, out like I'm sure you've been doing a lot more mountain climbing now that you got that Apple Watch Ultra, right? Like,
that was the one thing I was waiting for is to have the Ultra.
A lot of time at the top of craggy peaks with drone shots zooming in on the pristine outdoors.
Yeah, I
right?
only come down for the show. That's it. I spend
blame
my
you,
time
man?
at the peak.
Awesome.
I'm in peak fitness, peak condition, so I figured that was an appropriate place for me just to be. And then I come down here to meet you for the show, and then I go back up.
I understand. So when you're off the grid, you got no Wi-Fi, of course. You got no cellular service. Now you can at least send a text message by satellite to, tell them, hey, my car broke down. I'm surrounded by crocodiles or whatever. I fell in between a rock and I can't get out.
If I were surrounded by crocodiles in my car, I'm running over all those crocodiles in my car.
Not if you got a broken axle.
I'm sure if you floored it, you could probably make it at least 100 feet. You
could at least gas them out, right? Anyway, so this new feature, it finally went live Tuesday in the U.S. And if you don't know, there's a little demo you can do on your phone. And you just, it should be rolled out now to anybody with an iPhone 14. It's only an iPhone 14 because, of course, it's got the special technology inside.
Have an emergency on iPhone 13 Pro. Enjoy being dead. Didn't decide to upgrade to the 14 Pro? Well, enjoy being dead.
Okay, so, usually satellite phones, you know what those things look like. They're big, bulky external antennas. Apple came up with this kind of crazy, unique way to get around that problem, right? And the way it works is if you try the demo, which I did, you go to place this SOS call. I think what you actually have to do first is try to call 911, and that call fails, and then this kicks into play. Right?
Oh, then it will let you. Okay.
But so you take your phone, you point it at the sky, and you just kind of like search around, and it's almost like a Find My thing, right? Like a little animation or whatever comes up, and and you can see like, oh, look, there's a satellite up there in the sky, and it's kind of like moving slowly across your phone screen, and you just
So you
kind of
gotta
point it at it.
use your arm to point it.
Yeah, yeah, you like
Hold it
slowly kind of move it,
which
You
is hard to
follow
do when you're being attacked by those alligators.
right. And apparently this even works if you like are unconscious because and they've got some kind of like way of making it work out. I can't remember.
Huh.
Leander explained it to me, and now I can't even remember what he said, but it sounded kind of fantastical. Anyway, so you're doing this, and they have this like kind of boilerplate preset thing. It's like, oh, we understand you're having an emergency. Basically pick from this list. Surrounded by crocodiles was not actually on the list, but
That's too bad.
things like car crash or heart attack, or I don't know, not heart attack, not that specific, but like feeling sick,
Yep.
lost, et cetera, et cetera. And so what they did is they came up with this algorithm that compresses that text message to make it like as small as possible, and you press it and it sends it, and kind of wait for a reply and says, okay, well, where are you at? And it's all real, like it's all designed to be really small amount of data because you send it to a satellite and then it's coming back, and so it's traditionally slow. And I think they even said it could take like up to a minute or two for these things to go back and forth, but it's pretty interesting, as our story says, it's because there's so little bandwidth available. It takes minutes for messages to transmit, and it asks you vital questions to assess the situation. And these things go to Apple trained specialists who can you believe that they're operating like special help centers, right? It's kind of crazy.
Well, that is surprising. So they have that was the part that actually surprised me. So they have costs associated with this, right? It's not just like your phone sending a message to the satellite and it goes to 911. Like they have a team of people that have to make this service work, which is why if you look at the documentation for this, it says the service is free for the first 2 years. I think eventually you're going to have to pay for this.
Yeah, well, I mean,
unless you get a new iPhone,
probably
of course.
the idea. Yeah, pretty sure, of course.
So like that feature on your 14 is not going to be there, I think, in 2 years.
Well, everybody, all the good people are on the iPhone replacement plan, right? Or what is that? I can't remember what it's called now. iPhone. I just call it the iPhone subscription.
I mean, both of those sound right to me. I have actually no idea what it's called. Trade up plan? No, it's AT&T's.
Isn't that funny? I can't remember what it's called.
Well, you've been on it for so long, you just don't even know anymore.
Yeah, just send me my bill every month and I'll just pay it happily.
Lewis just sends any bill that gets sent, so just send him an invoice. As long as it looks reasonably official, you're getting a check.
Yeah, I'm gonna send a copy of my passport to these people who have the $50 air tags too. I can't wait.
If that's real, there's no way that's real. That's definitely a scam. It's probably from the same guy who was attaching that credit card skimmer to my bank's door. It's probably the exact same guy.
He's a king of commerce.
Well, if you want a feature that's not frivolous, like free emergency SOS on your iPhone 14 with satellites, I got another feature for you that I think you're going to be excited about. We're all wondering what is going to be the point of Apple's mixed reality headset. We've heard so many stories, but my friends, it's all coming together. Here it is. Apple is building a rival to the metaverse, which, let's be honest, is not going to be hard to do. I don't know if you've seen any examples. Yeah, right. If you've seen any examples that have been coming out of Meta, I mean, it's like a joke, man. It's so bad that you don't even believe that it's real. And
they've spent billions. And didn't Zuckerberg actually personally apologize to his coworker? Or well, not his coworker.
I don't know if it was for that.
Workers.
I don't know if it was for that or if it was for overstaffing the company because they just had to do a bunch of layoffs. But apparently, at least according to this story, Apple is perhaps going to be participating. So let me just go to the story here. Apple job listings offer a peek into the development of the company's long-rumored AR headset. Cupertino seemingly wants to create augmented reality and 3D content for its mixed reality device, which could arrive in 2023. Well, they're going to have to do something. I mean, I have a feeling that it's going to be a lot like Apple Watch Series 0, where they release it, but they really don't even know what they're going to do with it yet. And so you're going to be able to send digital heartbeats to your other male friends. That was fun, wasn't it? Let's see here. Based on job listings, the Germinator, Mark Gurman, says Apple's looking for a software producer to create VR content. which, I mean, that totally makes sense. It's going to be a mixed reality headset. Further, it wants to build a video service for playing back 3D content in VR. Makes sense. But another posting points to Apple's AR headset taking advantage of App Intense framework to work seamlessly with Siri. Oh, great. That's what we've all wanted. Shortcuts and search. Interestingly, one job post talks about creating a 3D mixed reality world. Gurman's latest Power On newsletter highlights the position's requirements to build tools and frameworks to enable connected experiences in a 3D mixed reality world. That doesn't scream metaverse to me, but I mean, I could see that being metaverse, but to me, it just seems like they're going to be trying to figure out how to make apps work in mixed reality. So there's going to be AR elements overlaid onto the real world. Anyway, let's see here. Previously, Apple marketing chief Greg Wozniak said metaverse is a word he'll never use. Yeah, they'll just change it to Apple's marketing version of it, of course. It'll be Appleverse.
Ultraverse.
So while Facebook parent company Meta has taken an open approach to building its widely criticized metaverse, it really is bad, isn't it, Lewis?
Oh,
I mean, it is just embarrassing. It just seems like they have no vision for this at all. They're doing their research and development in the public domain, so everyone can see like all the failures that they're having. Unless those are not the failures, maybe those are the successes.
Yeah, could you imagine the failures?
Just imagine what the failures are like.
Wow.
Oh my! So in January 2022, a report claimed that Apple was not interested in building a complete virtual world for its AR headset. While the company might build a 3D mixed reality world, its approach could be different to Meta's. Yeah, I'm sure it will. I have way more confidence in Apple doing this than Meta. I think that if Apple does it, it might actually be something that might be useful. But to me, this sounds like they are creating app experiences or maybe a demo or a game or something. It doesn't necessarily sound like they're building. They don't have the same vision for Meta for a metaverse that Meta has, where they want you to live there and work there and have meetings there and all this stuff that no one wants to do. No, I just don't see the metaverse being a thing. I think it's gonna remain niche because there doesn't seem to be any purpose for it, you know? And like we were talking about this earlier, and people were like, well, people didn't see the phones becoming such a big thing. That's not true. People were clamoring for an iPhone from Apple for years before they made it. And clearly, having the internet on a device in your hand was something that people were extremely interested in. But metaverse is not one of those things. And VR has been around forever. It's never really taken off because, well, for a plethora of reasons, but one of which being it makes a lot of people feel like they're going to hurl. So I think a mixed reality headset, I still think could be really cool if you could overlay augmented elements over your natural world. I think that could actually be really useful, and that might be something that people are interested in. But living in a metaverse where you're just like wearing a headset all day and like wandering around in real space, I don't see
You're
it
not gonna be
happening.
wandering around. Yeah, man, I don't know. I had an opportunity to try out a VR headset at the I think it's called the Cinema Museum or something in Turin over that little vacation, right? And so we stood in line with these people, and as you're sitting there, you're watching other people try these things out, right? And it's like this dude puts it on his head, and he's sitting on his stool, and he's just like, staring around, looking. It's the goofiest thing in the world, the wife and I are arguing about it. Like, there's no way anybody's going to do that in front of anybody else because it just looks ridiculous. I mean, once we finally get up there, we put these things on. It's like they got a choice of basically short films you can watch, right? And maybe I picked the wrong one, but I was just like, this is so much less interesting than, for instance, just watching a movie. I can't imagine why you would want to put that on. It seemed a little bit like a video game, right? And except it was a movie, but I suppose with the right content, it could be. You could come up with some interesting experiences, but yeah, I don't know, man. I just don't see anybody ever doing it in the same room with anybody else.
Definitely not for many of the purposes.
Oh, jeez.
That's gonna be definitely true. I mean, I hate to say it because it's just pretty vile if you think about it. But there's gonna be a lot of people who just wear this thing for you know what I mean. That's gonna be one of the main reasons people buy it. Honestly, I think.
Online shopping?
Yeah, online. Yeah, well, it's definitely shopping of a certain kind.
No.
Shopping for experiences, you know.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
That's
let's just hope
three
it doesn't
times
go-
in one day. 3 times in one day, you've turned my stomach.
Let's just hope. Oh, do you want me to retell that story for the whole
Don't
show?
tell
No.
about the booger.
I might put it.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
I might edit that down a little bit and insert it into the bonus track at the end of the show. I told Lewis about just lost love in my youth and something that happened that I had a major crush on this girl and something happened. It destroyed my love forever. And Lewis was not happy I told him the story, but I think it's.
I still feel slightly ill.
Which
I didn't feel after wearing those goggles, by the way.
Yeah?
And
Okay.
you know what I didn't know?
Yeah.
I actually was able to put them on over my glasses.
That's nice.
Which I was. I mean, I tried it first. I tried it without it, and I'm so blind I couldn't hardly see anything.
It was
I'm
just
like,
a big blur. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, great, what nice smear. But I put them on under there. It's okay. I can't even imagine. I would never pay a nickel for the experience that I had there. Not one nickel.
Well, I've had virtual reality experiences before a number of times, and I've never really felt compelled to buy them either. I mean, the experiences are limited. There are some cool things that you can do with VR. I think AR is a completely different thing. We're kind of mixing these two things together, but AR could be cool. Like if you could wear something on your face that can mix the two things, especially from a productivity standpoint. Like the example I always mention is you're sitting at your desk and now you don't need to have a monitor because you have virtual monitors everywhere and you can look around and you have monitors all around you. Like that could be super useful. And that might be something that I would be interested in, especially if you could have like your work panel like right in front of you, and then you can have like a YouTube video up like right in the corner, right? So you kind of keep an eye on like something.
Yeah, that's
on election results, like while you're, so I don't know, that could be cool, but not for $3,000. It's gonna have to be a lot cheaper than that before I'm interested. PlayStation has announced the release of its headset. What is that just a new PlayStation VR headset? Is that what that is? I haven't heard anything about it. Sorry,
I don't know.
Mark LaPointe from the chat
saying
that PlayStation has a headset.
Tons of people are. There's all kinds of these new things coming out. Every week it seems like, and I had the same reaction to them all. Like, I'm just not that interested. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not either, and not trying to be a Luddite. Like I would love to see something like this succeed, but I just haven't seen a case for it where I think most normal people are going to be interested in this. I think there will always be guys like us who want to try it out, make YouTube videos, what have you, talk about it on a podcast. But the normies, the regular normal people are not going to be interested in this at all. Most people don't even know what this stuff is. So I'm really curious to see what Apple does. Let's see here. Before we move on, I know I mentioned coltcloth.co, but I made a huge mistake. I said last week that it was your last week to order and get a free Colt Cloth Duo with your order of $20 or more. And then, just like before, I completely forgot about it.
You need to set yourself a reminder.
I'm going to have to do that because it's still live, and I can't talk about coltcloth.co without extending this offer, which I'm not super excited to do. But I'm going to do it anyway, and by next week, I promise you, this deal is done. So a lot of you got your orders in the last week. So after this week, before next Thursday, this deal's going bye-bye. So if you haven't got yourself Colt Cloth, you're asking yourself, what is he talking about? Okay, so coltcloth.co, coltcloth.co. Normally, when you do an order, if you use code COLTCAST, you'll get yourself a free carry cloth, which are great. They're really nice portable cloths that you can use on all your devices. But right now, we're doing an extra Colt Cloth Duo, which is like our most premium grade cloth and far more expensive than a carry cloth. So if you order right now, if your order is above $20, which is not hard to do, you will get an extra Colt Cloth Duo for free with your order. And this is it. After this week, I'm done.
Dude, you realize you're like the only person on the planet who is making a sale worse on the week of Black Friday. You should give away two. It's Black Friday week, man.
That's not a bad point, but we never do any sales. We never really do big promotions. Like I said, I just kind of leave it there and let people buy stuff. And I'm not like always in there tinkering, doing new sales. Maybe I should.
Do you if somebody ever buys something, do you then send them an email every single day for the rest of your existence, saying, "Hey, we've got this on sale"?
I know I don't do that. We do texts. And sometimes I'll go into the system and I'll look at your address, and then I'll just stand outside your house with a loudspeaker that says, "Give me more money. I need your money." And for those of you that have purchased Colt cloth before, or maybe you haven't yet, they're a great gift. I have to say, especially for the man in your life, because if you know someone that loves gadgets and they want to keep their stuff in sparkling clean condition, this is the best way. You will be eternally surprised when you use these how well they work. I mean, there's just nothing better, especially with the Duo. If you have the Ultra like I do, I mean, look at this bad boy. And now that I have this new camera, check this out, Lewis. Check this. I'm going in close.
Oh boy!
Look at that. Can we get it?
Oh, it's just not. Oh, there we go. Okay, finally. Yeah, look at that thing.
Yeah, and it's a big boy, right? Got a big screen. It also has the big crown on the side, and the Colt Cloth Duo has the short fibers on one side, great for the screen, and it has the long fibers on the other side. And they all use the same special technique that our fiber goes through, which breaks down the surface area, which drastically increases the cleaning capability. And when the long fibers go across on the side with the speaker and the button, or with the digital crown, it just, all the little fingers, all the little fibers just go in and they just clean up everything. And it's going to look brand new. You're going to be surprised. That's how well it works, man. It really is just the best that there is. So coltcloth.co, use code COLTCAST at checkout, and you'll get a free Colt Cloth Duo only until next Thursday. Don't even ask me to extend it, because I'm not going to do it.
So you're literally taking it down the day before Black Friday.
Yes.
Come on!
Yeah, that's right. I'm taking it down before Black Friday. You better get in before Black Friday, because this will probably never happen again, honestly. Well, it may at some point. We'll see how many people order it. Maybe if it's popular again, I may do it at some point in the future. But probably not. In fact, I may just shut down Colt Cloth forever after this Wednesday. That's how serious I am about not doing the sale ever again. I'm going to shut down the whole website, and I'm going to redirect the website to a Rick Astley video if you even try to go to it. So just know that. That's a possibility. Let's see here. Should we continue? What's next?
After that, I don't know. I'm kind of speechless.
All right. Well, we got some interesting stories that I thought you all might want to hear about. And it's going to be a lot of me talking, but I promise you're going to find this interesting. We need to talk about iPhone 4K video and how it's a complete scam. An absolute scam to get you to pay for more iCloud photo storage. And then we're going to talk about the Find My network and how it's one of the best things that Apple's ever built. So I'm not going to just take a dump on Apple. I've got two stories, a tale of two Apple products. Let's talk about 4K video on iPhone. Lewis, how long has 4K been in the iPhone? How long has that capability how long has it been in there? If you had to guess, like 5 years, maybe 6 years?
I do not know.
I don't either. But if I had to guess, I'd say it's probably been 4 or 5 years. And I realized in the last week that it is a complete scam. And here's why I say that. There's not a single device that Apple makes that plays 4K video besides maybe your MacBook Pro. Actually, I take that back. It's the MacBook Pro screen doesn't have a 4K display. The only device that Apple makes, as far as I'm aware, that has 4K or better is the Apple Studio monitor, which is 5K.
But what about the Apple TV 4K?
This is where the scam comes into place, Lewis.
Oh, no.
None of the Apple TV 4Ks stream your content, your 4K content that you have in your photos library in 4K. They downscale it to either 720.
Wow, isn't that like 2002 or something?
Or 1080. Now, if you have a 4K video that you have stored in your iCloud photo library, right? And then you stream it, you try to stream it from your Apple TV 4K onto a 4K television. It will keep the HDR aspect of it, but it will not stream it in 4K. This is where the scam comes into full view. So you're paying for these phones to take 4K video, but there's no way, except for one, that you can watch 4K video on any Apple device. The only way for you to watch a 4K video is to stream or watch a video that's stored locally on your Mac, and have it connected to a 5K display. In that case, it will show you a video in actual 4K resolution, right? The other way is to, if you want to watch it on your television, for instance, is you have to have the video stored locally on your Mac or on your iPhone or your iPad or whatever, right? Which defeats the purpose of iCloud Photo Library because now you have it stored locally. And you have to AirPlay it to your TV. That is the only way to get 4K on your TV. So you're paying for all of this 4K video to be stored on iCloud Photo Library. And once you fill your library up, got to pay Apple more money. I'm almost at my 2 terabyte limit, and I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do next. And I was watching a video from my Disney World vacation the other day, and I was like, this video looks like ARSE. It looks terrible. I'm like, what is going on? And that's when I went into the info of the video, and that's when this whole thing unraveled, Lewis. And I went deep to research. I was like, why is my Apple TV 4K not playing the photos or the videos I have stored in 4K on my 4K television? And that's when I did some research and found out, indeed, that's not even possible. It won't do that. So the only reason to buy an Apple TV 4K is to stream 4K content from like Apple TV Plus or Disney Plus or something. So it's still useful in that regard. But all of your 4K videos, there's pretty much no way to watch them. Did I just blow your mind?
You're so much more into these file formats than I am. I'm just like, yeah, does it look good on my? I don't even have a 4K TV, so.
Okay. So for those of us that have 4K TVs, a lot of us have an eye for what's 4K and what's not. But let's just say you don't have a 4K TV. Fine. That doesn't even matter. Apple's giving you a feature that you can't use and then charging you to store it in iCloud, your iCloud photo library, which takes up way more space than a 1080p video. And there's nothing that you can do with that 4K video aside from save it for the future, which is valuable, but
and use it to create, the next fantastic movie.
okay.
I mean,
but most people are not doing that. Most people are taking videos of their kids, their families, their vacations, whatever. And then you can't watch 4K on your iPhone. You can't watch 4K on your iPad because none of those have 4K resolution. So the whole thing, besides just storing it, is kind of pointless. And I would argue that the reason Apple does this is because they don't want to pay the bandwidth transfer fees. So it costs them money to stream because they're not using their own servers, I don't think. They're outsourcing this to Azure or to Amazon Web Services. They're storing all their data there, I think. And those services charge you to transfer data. And so it's in their best interest to transfer data at the lowest resolution possible to not have to pay those fees. But you're paying them, a lot of money. Well, actually, maybe not. I'm paying for the 2 terabyte plan, which is $10 a month. But if you're only paying them $1 a month, or what does the other plan cost? $4 a month for 200 gigabytes? Maybe they don't want to offset their profits by paying for those transfer fees. I don't know what the answer is. I'm just speculating here. But that was mind-blowing to me, especially the revelation that your Apple TV 4K cannot stream 4K content from your iCloud photo library. J. Cruz says X-Files theme plays. Or the theme to Unsolved Mysteries when I go missing next week for breaking the story wide open. Where's Gurman on this story? Where's Prosser on this story? Where's Groover on this story? I don't hear him. You know what I hear, Lewis? You know what I hear? Exactly.
Sounds like a bunch of crickets.
Boom!
So even if you open up the Photos app on the Apple TV 4K, you cannot possibly do it, huh?
Nope. The only way to do it is to download the video to your phone and then like a friggin' caveman AirPlay it to your TV.
Well, what about storing it on the TV itself? You could do that, right? You could store
it doesn't store any iCloud. Well, I mean, besides the cache, it doesn't store any iCloud photo library stuff on the Apple TV 4K. That storage space on the Apple TV 4K, as far as I'm aware, is only used for storing apps. That's it. So all that extra storage space is kind of pointless. Streamline just said it. Airfon had his invitation to the next Apple event rescinded. Tim Cook, he's got a single tear going down his eye, and he's ripping up my invitation as we speak. And he's sprinkling it delicately into the trash can. Yeah, do with that information what you will, but that was truly mind-blowing to me. I was like, the whole one of the main reasons I bought the Apple TV 4K was to stream all this beautiful 4K content I've taken of my kids to my Apple or to my TV, and it doesn't even work. I mean, how bizarre is that? It doesn't work on the new Apple TV 4K either. I have the second generation, the third generation just came out. Nope, doesn't work on that one either. And the only reason, again, that I can think of that Apple does this is to save themselves the cost on the transfer fees, which is outrageous, especially if you're paying them $10 a month. You should be able to stream as much 4K content as you can. I mean, it's like pennies to transfer gigabytes of data. Let's see here. Tim Baker, I know Bluetooth doesn't support lossless, but they could do it via AirPlay. You guys are having a... Oh, wait. He's saying the bigger conspiracy is why none of Apple's wireless headphones support lossless audio. This was one of my main arguments against the AirPods Max. I was like, Apple released a pair of high-fidelity headphones that only support a codec that's not high fidelity. I don't get it. I think we got to be honest. We love Apple. We got to treat them honestly and call out this nonsense when we can. But speaking of AirPods Max.
Oh, what a transition.
Thank you for that, Tim Baker. So let's move on to my next story. A story of great success. Let's talk about Find My, okay? One of the greatest inventions that Apple's had. So I lost an iPad a long time ago, and we went on a vacation, and I couldn't find my iPad afterwards. And I always leave my iPad on airplane mode because the iPad Pro, the battery drains fast, at least for my iPad if I don't do that. And so I was like, oh no, I'm never going to find this thing, right? And so I boot up Find My, and it says it's in the hotel. Well, that was the last place that I used it. And it says that it's there, but it hadn't connected to it in a little while. And then the next day, I think, somebody must have walked by with an iPhone, and my iPad connected via their iPhone to the Find My network, and boom! All of a sudden it pinged me and it said, your iPhone has been turned on or has been found at this location. It was still at the hotel. So I knew it was at the hotel. So I called them. I said, my iPad is in the room. Can you guys go get it? And they did. They found it. They sent it back to me. Fast forward to my trip to Orlando over the summer. And I went to a bunch of different places. I went to Georgia, and then I went to Cape Canaveral, and then I went to Orlando. And when I got back, I was unpacking, and I realized, much to my horror, my AirPods Max were no longer with me. And I'm like, I have no idea where they are. I went to a bunch of different places, and I didn't really use them very much on my vacation. And so I boot up Find My, and it says that they're in Georgia at my brother-in-law's house. So, but it hadn't connected to them in a long time. So I contact him, and I'm like, my Find My app says that the headphones are at your house. Can you check? And he searches. They're not there. So I'm like, can you search again? So he searches again. He's like, I can't find them anywhere. I don't think they're here. So I'm like, dang it. I must not have used them after I was at his house. And so, because they're unlike an iPad, it won't just connect, I don't think, through someone else's iPhone to Apple's network. You actually have to connect them to your phone or to your iPad to get them to register with the Find My network. At least I think that's how it works.
I don't know if that's true.
I'm not sure if that's true, but I believe that's how it works because my iPad was able to connect right away or within a short amount of time. And there's iPhones in his house, and the headphones just didn't say that they were there. But anyway, so I'm just like praying, like, oh, please, God, let me find my headphones. Those things were so expensive. I don't want to have to rebuy them. And the other day, this is like 6 weeks later, right? So, I mean, the AirPods Max were probably dead. We talked about this on a previous show, right? I'm like, how much battery can they have?
Times.
Right.
It's crazy.
So on a whim, I log into my Find My app and I load it up, and it's like your headphones have been found. And I'm like, oh man. And sure enough, I zoom into the map. they were at the house in Cape Canaveral. Now, I had contacted that Airbnb host several times, and I'm like, I think I might have left my headphones at your house. Can you look for them? And he's like, I sent my cleaners in there. They couldn't find them. You know, who knows where they are, right?
Uh-huh.
So now I know they're at the house. So we contact him again, and I'm like, I know they're at your house. Somebody interacted with my headphones. And he goes, they're not there. I don't have them. They're not there. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. And I'm like, I'm telling my wife because she's interacting with him. And I say, let's send him some pictures of the AirPods Max because they're kind of in a weird case, and he may not realize that they're headphones.
You might think it's a little purse.
Yeah, it could be like a weird digital tech purse, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, man, these San Francisco metrosexuals, I don't know what to think of these boys. And so I'm getting some pictures ready, and I look up, and my wife has already put some pictures into the Messages app and sent those to him. I'm like, oh, those are perfect. And then I see a message pop up, and it says, do these look familiar? I'm like, oh, these are coming from him. He's sending us pictures of the AirPods Max.
Oh.
And then my heart starts beating fast. And I'm like, did he send those to us? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, those are it. And she's like, I know. Just wait a second. And sure enough, suddenly out of the blue, they materialize and he has them. And I was like, what happened? Where did they find those? And he said that there were some people staying at his Airbnb, and he had asked them if they had seen them. And they said no. But then he came back and he said, my former customers who stayed here contacted me, and they said they know that they're here because they registered with Apple's, Find My network. And out of the blue, oh yeah, come to think of it, there were a pair of headphones that we found, and we turned them on, and we didn't think that they did anything, so we put them back in the drawer, which we found them. And here they are. So when he turned them on, clearly they must have connected to his phone, or he connected them to his phone. And as soon as he did that, boom, it activated on the Find My network, and I knew about it. And because I knew for certain that they were there, look, I don't know if this guy was trying to steal them. Maybe his story was legit. But now we're going to them and we're saying, look, we know that the headphones are there. We know that they're there because they just pinged us. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, yeah, here they are. And so they're going to return them to me. The original owner is working with his cleaners to go pick them up. The Find My network is a thing of magic, man. Like, that thing has saved me twice now. And not just that. I use it all the time. You guys are going to think I'm a total creep, but my wife knows that I do this. So I set geofences around her on a frequent basis, Like, if she's somewhere and I said that I'm going to do like a chore or something before she gets home, I will set a geofence around her. When she leaves the location, it pings my phone, and I'm like, okay, I've got 20 minutes before she gets home. I got to do all that vacuuming I said I was going to do, right? And when you do this, it alerts the person that you're geofencing that you have done so they know, right? And you can't do this unless a person allows you access to the location. But my point being, the Find My network is truly a tech of, or a work of technological magic. It virtually allows you to never lose a piece of technology again. Now, of course, there are instances where you can still lose stuff, especially if you're dealing with unscrupulous people. But the fact that you know that it's there and you can prove it, and I can send a screenshot, and I'm like, it's on the map, it's at your house. And then they're like, oh, okay, now I'm going to take you seriously because you have proof that this thing is there. So the Find My network, it saved my iPad. It saved my AirPods Max, which are going to be returned to me. And it saved me endless marital grief from,
I was just going to say the exact same thing, man. Huh? on this last trip, Suzanne was like, oh my God, where's my wallet? I lost my wallet. It's like that, we're out on the streets of a city in Italy, right? And it's like, oh my God. At least the passports aren't in that, right? But, everything else, right? Like, okay, well, you got to put an AirTag in there, right? She's like, oh yeah. And so I pull up the Find My thing. Sure enough, right there, it shows the exact location of where it is, back in the Airbnb where we're staying. I'm like, look, we can relax and go back to having a glass of wine. We can. I mean, you'd have paid $20 right there, right? Because it was suddenly going to be a walk around searching, and oh my God, go frantically back to the hotel or the Airbnb and see if we can find it. And it was instant peace of mind. You can't. You can't put a price on
I know.
a piece
I
of art.
that's why I'm like, I'm gonna get some AirTags. I'm gonna get some now because the genius of the AirTags network or the Find My network is that it's just passive, right? And it works based off the premise that there's iPhones and iPads and Macs everywhere. And so your device, your AirTag can ping Apple's network through someone else's device, and they don't even know that it's happening. And it keeps that person's device anonymous. And so there's nowhere that you can go to escape the network, right? Unless you go underwater, in which case one of Buster's old phones will probably ping the network, because it's sitting there floating down there. So that's the thing. It's like someone just walks by your iPad and it's like, boom, it connects, right? Someone goes into the room with your Mac, boom, it connects. And that's the magic and the genius of the Find My network is you just can't escape it. So if you leave something somewhere, eventually, like look at this. Even how many weeks ago was my vacation over? Probably almost 7 weeks ago. And actually more like 8 weeks because the Cape Canaveral part of my vacation was first. And I didn't get back until after Disney World. So my AirPods Max were just sitting there dormant forever.
That's crazy.
And then eventually someone connected and immediately, boom, I knew that they were there and it helped me recover them. Otherwise, dude, that guy would have claimed those headphones. He would have kept them. He's like, score, I just found a pair of $500 headphones. I'm keeping these all day long. But when the owner comes calling, they're like, we know that you turned them on. Where are they?
Maybe they just charged them up. Maybe that's why they suddenly lit back up.
It's possible. That's what I thought was going to happen. I'm like, even if they're dead, whoever finds them is going to charge them.
Yeah.
And then they're going to try them. And then I gotcha. Gotcha. So the owner said he's going to be sending them back to me, which I'm thrilled about because the thing about the AirPods Max was that I don't use them all that often. I love having them, and for plane rides, there's nothing better. But I don't use them often enough to rebuy them. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
But I'm just thrilled, man. Find My network. Don't sleep on the Find My network. And I'm gonna get myself some AirTags. I think this Black Friday. That's one of the things that I'm it's high on my list to get my hands on. Let's see here. Let's wrap up with a fun story, Lewis. I've been doing a lot of talking.
You mean that wasn't fun? I thought that was pretty
I hope
fun.
so. I hope you guys found that story interesting. But I know that for those of you who listen every week, like some of you have been asking me for an AirPods Max update, and I had nothing to tell you until just the other day. And it was like magic because I boot up the Find My network, and all of a sudden, after all this time, the location changed. And I was like, grappling at my wife. I'm like, were we in Cape Canaveral? Were we in Cape Canaveral? Like shaking her, Because I thought that the place we were in was the city of Cocoa Beach, but Cocoa Beach is a part of Cape Canaveral, which I wasn't aware of. Because I thought maybe someone had taken them. I was like, dude, his cleaners stole them. Like his cleaners took them and they just turned them on. But, my pessimism was unrewarded. Clearly it was just someone finally finding them, and I must have left them in the dresser. I was like, I don't know where I put them, but clearly they're put away in such a way that they wouldn't be obvious to find. And so someone was going through the dresser and they found them in there. I don't know why I put them in there, but apparently that's where I left them. Anyway, Lewis, I know you're a big fan of hippie stuff, so let's wrap up with this story. Steve Jobs' old stinky sandals going for sale.
Yeah. So this is, we love when there's all these auctions of crazy things. People are selling like Steve Jobs' signature or something, right? But so this auction was for Steve Jobs' old Birkenstocks.
Let's look at those. Are those actually it?
Yeah,
they are it.
They're like almost 50 years old, right?
I can just see the stink waves coming off those things.
These things, they went on auction, and this is the auction house. This is from their auction house description. The sandals are well used, but still appear intact.
They actually look like you could put them on and wear them. They're in remarkably good condition.
Each sandal features its original Birkenstock adjustable buckles and Birkenstock stamping on the inner edge of the suede leather foot straps. The cork and jute footbed retains the imprint of Steve Jobs' feet, which had been shaped after years of use.
These are definitely a cool artifact. Like if you put these in, I would like to know when he wore these. So you could be like, the shoes worn when iPad was created. Steve Jobs was wearing these when he designed the iPhone.
When he was wandering through India. Yeah. So it's kind of, like I said, this stuff goes up for sale often, right? Business cards sold for like $12,000 and
Yeah.
almost $13,000 in 2021. And so, they're estimating how much they're going to pay, how much they're going to get for this. They're estimating $60,000 to $80,000.
Honestly, I would have guessed probably that amount for a pair of stinky old sandals, but I know that that's nowhere close.
Yeah, the actual selling price will shock you. Are you ready for this?
I'm looking at it right now.
Oh, I can't even. I can't.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, I mean,
$218,000. It's $218,750. Extra seven. I wouldn't have paid $750, let alone the $218,000. That's a crazy amount of money for an old pair of, as it's
that's
listed
stunning.
here.
I wonder,
Stinky used hippie slippers.
although it just goes to show how famous Steve Jobs is. The fact that something that he wore on his body for that length of time, his old shoes, when people are willing to pay for something like that, it's a measure of your fame, right? Because old shoes are worth nothing universally, but if they were like Napoleon's shoes, or if they belonged to Bomb Dog, now you're talking my language. Or Steve Jobs' stinky old sandals, now you have a piece of history.
I wonder if they could like scrape some DNA off of that and clone it.
Totally. Oh, I don't know about the cloning parts. I jumped in too early there. They could definitely get some DNA on there. Actually, now that is interesting. Like, what if the person who bought them really did want his DNA? Because these things got his DNA all day long, all over them.
Jurassic dork.
Jurassic Jobs. They could recreate him in a lab to save Apple. But I think I'd probably prefer one of his old business cards. That's a little bit more in my price range.
What are you gonna do with the old stinky Birkenstocks?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I guess you put them in a glass case.
Exactly. It's like a really cool museum piece. It's like, you go to the museum and they have his old stinky sandals in a hermetically sealed glass case, so you don't have to smell them. Although, honestly, what I would do is I would charge for a sniff. I would charge like $50 a sniff. You get to come up, $50. I will let you have a big old inhale of one of his sandals. I bet you could charge for that all day long. Like, this is like a $60,000 a year business, just charging people to sniff them. All right, there you go. I think with that,
what a great way to go out.
There's no better way. So I'm gonna go ahead and just start the music. That's it. That's all we got. That's definitely the best part of the show. We can't get any better than that. So with that, I'll say that's all the Coltcast we have for you guys this week, my friends. Hopefully you enjoyed all those stories. If you want the fun to continue, me and Lewis, we're on the new Twitter. Duking it out on the new Twitter. I'm at Airfon, ERFON. Lewis is at Lewis Wallace. This has been the Coltcast, the best 30+ minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. New episodes of the Coltcast come out every Thursday night. I want to thank everyone for listening, and we'll see you guys. That's a big reach. Next time.
Wow, that got really loud. Whoa!
Did it? I thought you liked it loud, Lewis.
Oh, I love it loud.
So you're not complaining. You're saying that that's a good
It's
thing.
an observation.
You've gone soft on your trip to Italy. I think that's the problem. You used to love to rock hard, and now look at you. You're like, oh, it's too loud. I need some ravioli. Quick.
That actually sounds pretty good.
That actually does sound good. I do love ravioli, obviously. Well, it was a lot less fun having you on a solid internet connection and not having to figure out what you're trying to say. It was like a puzzle last week, It's like, what did he just say? I only heard maybe 6 of the 11 words that he just spoke.
Oh, jeez.
I got to piece it together.
I'm not going to go back and listen to it. I don't need any proof.
Well, there's not really much to listen to. It's just like...
Just edit everything out.
All right, all. I'm hovering towards the end stream button as we speak. Have a great weekend. Thanks for hanging out live. Don't forget to hit the like button, please. Like button. Oh, the likes are going up. Look at that. At least it went up a couple. Bye, y'all.